I'm Scott Allen Miller, and today on Sam IT, I'm going to talk about another dirty little secret of IT, and really hiring in general, and that is that hiring is essentially random. This may seem a little bit surprising. It may seem like there's a lot of scientific method and process behind hiring people, and in some fields that may be true. If you're hiring a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher, you may be fairly focused on certifications and qualifications and a little bit of work history. Put that together with a very small amount of does this person fit with the environment, and that may be all you need to know. But outside of those fields and outside of unskilled work, if you're hiring, say, for a fast food restaurant in a cashier position or a janitor position, you may be okay getting away with relatively straightforward, can they do the work, will they show up, what's their work history, and you can pretty much predict who's going to be hired. Outside of that, once you get into highly skilled positions, and especially those related to business, you're going to get more and more random in how hiring happens. And partly that is because business especially is random. There's no way to certify or predict who's going to be good or bad at business. IT suffers from this more than most fields because while we like to pretend we're technical, IT is actually a business discipline. And just like if you're hiring a CEO or anyone who's going to run and define a business, you are subject to a number of concerns that are simply so different than anything you can put on a resume that there's no way to predict, one, who's going to be good or bad, and two, who someone who's hiring is going to feel is going to be good or bad. Also, there's a huge amount of concern around fitting with the environment and being aligned with the people that you're going to work with in a way that another position may not. For example, a teacher or a doctor may have very little concern about how well they fit with the other people in their environment most of the time because they do most of their work as a professional alone or with customers who don't really have a need for the different, say, doctors or teachers to be similar to each other or to get along with each other. They only care if they can do the job for the customer. And in many cases, the customer isn't even the people who are paying and get to interact with those people, so they may not care at all. With IT, it's completely different, and with business in general, IT's not unique there. So because of that, and because the technical pieces of IT are not straightforward, there's no simple way for someone to look at a resume or to look at a history or to even have a conversation with someone in IT and determine if they actually have a good working understanding of the technology, and especially not if they have a good working understanding of taking that technology and applying it to business needs, and if they have an understanding of the business or capability to have an understanding of the business. All of that aside from, do they fit well with the business? This, along with a number of other concerns, such as people hiring positions that they simply don't understand, not knowing the job titles or not applying them appropriately, not understanding what they're looking for, let alone who fits the needs. You put these things together, and one of the harsh realities is when you're working in IT, your ability to get hired is almost completely random. You could be the best candidate that there has ever been for a position, and your chances of being hired are still less than 75%. You could be a terrible candidate with no chance of doing the job, and yet still have a 10 or 20% chance of being hired. It's random. And if you really step back and look at it, it kind of makes sense that it is random. And it's important for us as IT practitioners to kind of understand that, because if you don't, you will become very disheartened because it becomes very frustrating. You feel like you are a perfect candidate. You can't figure out why someone didn't hire you. It doesn't come down to how good you are. It doesn't come down to how good of a fit you are. It comes down to a lot of factors that you don't control, and quite often they don't understand, and possibly you don't understand. You may think you're a great candidate, and the factors that they're concerned about aren't ones that you're aware of. There's a lot of pieces, and even if everyone had all the information that they need, if everyone was completely transparent and honest, we still don't have enough to take IT hiring from something that's predictable and something that's really structured to something away from the complete random situation that we have today. So what's important, at least at this stage, until we have new answers and new ways to address these things, is to understand that IT is a business discipline. Business hiring is always essentially random to the people observing it from either end, and there's nothing we can do about that. And so accepting that helps us feel better about the hiring process, and knowing that other people are not in a different boat than you, right? You go to interviews and you can't figure out why you were hired when you are and not hired when you're not. Everyone else is doing the same thing. When you get better in the field, you get better at interviewing, you have a better resume, your chances do go up of getting hired, of course. But they don't change completely. Those people with the best resumes are still struggling to figure out why they're getting hired or not hired. They just have a slightly better percentage chance than other people. And the same kind of things, like some places only want to hire people who have 8-page resumes. Other places won't even look at you if you have more than 1 page. But that's kind of random. You don't know who you're submitting to, and different people in the same company might have different opinions. And so things that you do to get past one person might get you blocked by another in the same company for the same position. You can't predict it. And so accepting that doesn't fix the problem, but it does help us feel better about the situation that we're in. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope that this helps you understand a little bit more about why IT hiring and working is so frustrating. And remember to like and subscribe and comment below. And you can support us on Patreon.